So if you're a guy who's practiced yoga for a while, you've probably noticed that most people who practice happen to be women. So maybe in your classes that are led by women, you're not always addressing some of the most common issues related to men's bodies. And as you probably know, shoulder, upper back, and neck tension, very common. Hamstring tension, that's really important in yoga. We need to be able to stretch our hamstrings because it's used in so many postures. And low back pain. So in this class today, I'm going to address some of the most common issues amongst men: shoulder and upper back and neck, low back pain, and hamstring tension, plus, as always, whole body, well-rounded practice. So if you're a guy who's kind of new to yoga and want to work out some of those common areas of tension and feel better and feel more confident in your classes so that no matter what class you go to, you'll feel pretty good in your body, this is the practice for you. And I've laid it out in a way that you can come back to it regularly. So if it's something you want to do regularly, like 3 times a week or every week, this is a great way to maintain your flexibility along with your strength and balance, but a little more emphasis on the flexibility and releasing tension in this class. And if you enjoy it, please check out quietmind.yoga, my website, where you can do a free little assessment based on your level of skill. And I'll recommend the trainings and programs I think will be most beneficial to you to keep seeing progress in your practice and keep building your strength, flexibility, and balance for years to come. Quietmind.yoga at the link below. And if you enjoy this particular class, please leave a comment, click like, and subscribe so you can be notified when the newest classes come out. And I think there's going to be a lot of things in the pipeline that you're really interested in that'll be really valuable to you, because I work with guys a lot. And as a guy, I'm aware of all these most common areas of tension. And I started with them, so I know exactly where you're at. I know what it's like, and I want to help you. So subscribe, and you'll get the newest videos as soon as they come out. And leave a comment. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you want to see more of. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your practice today. And just find a comfortable seated posture. You can sit kneeling or cross-legged if you want. And take a moment to center. You can close your eyes or rest your eyes on a single spot. And start to take some slower, deeper breaths. So one of the common things that can happen is the breath gets kind of stuck in the upper lungs, and the muscles of the chest and shoulders kind of take over the breathing. So let's get the ribs involved, the belly, so getting a little bit slower, deeper breaths, more three-dimensional breath. So it's in the front, back, and sides. And when you exhale, maybe your shoulders relax a little bit. And we'll start with some simple movements on the floor. So come over to your back and bring your knees in to rock a little side to side on your back. So kind of massaging the back, starting simple here. And then hold your hands outside your knees, shins, or feet for happy baby pose. And again, you could stay still or rock side to side here. And we'll start to relieve tension throughout the hips and legs here to start. So we bring your feet together and lower your feet down to the floor with your knees apart. So feet are together, knees are apart. And you can rest your arms beside you, or one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. Again, noticing this more three-dimensional, deeper breath. And I don't know if you have blocks, but you could put those under your knees if you want a little more support there, or if you have something like that. So essentially there's the front, back, and sides of the hips, and all these areas can get tense. So we're just going to work our way through the inner hips here, taking some slower, deeper breaths, relieving tension through the adductors, the inner legs. And then start to bring your knees back together and cross your right ankle over your left thigh. So it's a supine pigeon pose. And you could say just like this, or hold hands behind your left thigh or left shin. Just make sure that your head and neck don't start to lift up and round your back, so we can keep the shoulders and neck relaxed. And just focus on the outer right hip, the abductors. We'll hold and breathe here. With each of these about a minute, so maybe 5 slow, deep breaths. Now slowly transition to the other side. Take your time. Left ankle over right thigh. And you can stay right there. You could even, if that's a little tense, you could always use your left hand to just press your left thigh forward and stay there. Or again, you could hold hands behind your right thigh or right shin. So wherever you're at, make sure your shoulders and neck can stay relaxed. Make sure there's no pain in the knee as well. So if there is, just do less. And we'll slowly release. Again, feet down to the floor. So feet are about hips width. From here, we'll stretch into the front of the hips. So your right foot under your left leg to your left hand. And let your right knee just lower down. And you could stay there or bring your left knee in to your right hand. All right, so your right hand or your right knee is bent. Your right your right foot is on your left hand. And then we'll slowly release and switch. So now your left foot under your right leg to your right hand. So you get the stretch into the front of the hip. And then your right knee can come in to your left hand. I'll hold and breathe here. And you'll slowly let that go. Both feet on the floor again. And bring the knees in for happy baby, holding outside knees, shins, or feet again. But this time, bend your left knee a lot and start to straighten your right leg any amount to get into the hamstrings and back of the leg. And we'll switch to the other side. Right knee bends, left leg extends any amount. And then again, both feet to the floor, knees bent, feet on the floor, and we'll hold hands behind the right thigh. If you have a strap nearby, you can use a strap on your foot or just hold behind the thigh and keep the leg moving towards straight. So we're stretching into the back of the right leg, the calves, hamstrings, and even to the glute. So the whole right leg lengthening. And now straighten your left leg out if it's bent. Straight left leg. And take your left hand outside of your right leg as you come into this twist. So it's revolved, hand to foot pose on the back. And here, getting into the outer hip, the IT band. And you could even turn your head away from the foot to your right. It's your whole spines and a little rotation. And slowly come back up to release to the other side. So hold hands behind your left thigh, extend the leg straight up. We'll hold and breathe here on this side. And now, if your right knee is bent, straighten the right leg out to the floor and take your right hand outside of your left leg into a twist. Keep your left leg as straight as you can, though, so you get this IT band stretch, the outer leg. You could turn your head to your left, your whole spine's in this rotation. So revolved hand to foot pose. But if you can't reach the foot, of course, you can grab behind the knee or the leg, anywhere that works for you. But if you can grab the foot, go for that. And we'll slowly come back to center. And we'll lower back down. And stretch out the whole body, head to toe. Point your toes down all the way, reach your arms overhead, it's your whole body lengthening. And roll onto your stomach. And we'll move our focus into relieving tension in the upper body, starting here in Sphinx pose. So your forearms are down, spine is lengthening, and just a little bit of release of tension in the stomach. Now bring your hands under your shoulders, lowering down to bring your hands like tented fingers. So your fingers, kind of like spider legs, out to your sides. And from here, you'll inhale to lift your heart up. And then exhale to turn to your right, dipping your left shoulder down. And inhale to center and exhale to your left. So continue moving left to right a few times, getting into the shoulders. With your breath, go at your own pace. Probably the most common issue for guys is shoulder injuries, especially later in life, very common. So making sure the shoulders have good range of motion and not holding any extra tension as best we can help prevent those injuries. And then building strength, as we often do. So we'll come back to the center and we'll bring the belly down, reach your right arm straight out to your right. So it's right out to the floor to your right, and roll onto your right side. So your left foot lands behind you, and you can wrap your left arm around your back. So hold and breathe there. If there's any pain in your shoulder, though, you could always just come down and do less. You could always lower your right arm so it's not quite a T. But if you feel like you want more, you could also bend your right elbow so it's more like a goalpost. That's going to be more intense. And we'll release back to the stomach and over to the other side, same thing. So have your left arm reach straight out to your left. Roll onto your left side. Right foot lands behind you. And if your head's kind of awkward here, you could put a pillow or a block or something under your head for support. Otherwise, just letting your head down is fine. We'll hold and breathe here. Imagine you can breathe right into the left shoulder. And we'll start to come back to the stomach. And bring your elbows down under your shoulders again. And here we'll start to round the back and maybe to the knees, maybe to the feet for a forearm plank. And when you inhale, lower your spine, arching your back into the Sphinx pose. So continue with your breath, exhaling to come up, inhaling to go down. A few times at your own pace, moving your spine, engaging your core. And next time you come up to the forearm plank, we'll hold and breathe there. Again, knees can be down or lifted. Hold and breathe. And then we'll lower back to the Sphinx pose. And this gentle stretch in the belly, releasing tension there. Bring your hands under your shoulders, come up to hands and knees. And start to move any way that feels good for your spine, shoulders, and back. Listening to your body, moving in all directions. And then we'll come back to a neutral spine and just move the shoulder blades together and apart a few times. Protraction and retraction. If you want more challenge, though, you can do that from plank pose. Shoulders together and apart a couple times. Not a push-up. Just the shoulder blades moving. But it's a lot easier on the knees. Freeing up movement in the shoulders. And then we'll come back to hands and knees for all of us. And thread your right arm underneath, right shoulder down into a twist. And here you can use your left hand to press into the floor and breathe into your upper back. Now we'll untwist back to center and to the other side. Left arm, threads underneath, left shoulder down. Hold and breathe here about 5 breaths. And we'll untwist back to center and tuck the toes to sit back onto your feet, stretching into the feet. From here, reach your arms back behind you, interlace your hands, and reach your arms back, lifting your heart. Shoulder blades down and together. And we'll slowly release up to the hands and knees again, this time pointing your fingers back, stretching into your wrists and forearms. And you can start to lean back, maybe to one side or the other. And we'll let that go with the tops of the feet down. Start to sit back onto the heels and lean back to lift your knees, stretching into the shins and ankles. You can find a little lift in your heart here and maybe even interlace your hands, reach your arms up, stretching into your wrists and forearms. And then we'll slowly lower back to hands and knees one more time with the left palm facing up and top of the hand down to stretch into your wrist and forearm. And we'll go to the other side. So hands and knees with your right palm facing up and start to shift back, stretching into your wrist and forearm. And then we'll let that go and come back to downward facing dog. You can bend one knee at a time, easing into down dog. And from here, we'll step the right foot forward, left knee down to the ground, and start to move with the breath, inhaling forward to a lunge and exhaling back to half splits. Any amount. Inhaling forward and exhaling back. Next time you come forward, you can stay there or lower down, more flexibility down to your hands or elbows, or raise up, arms like a Y, more energizing in the low lunge. So either version, we'll hold and breathe a couple breaths here. And then from here, lower the hands down back to the half splits. Hold and breathe there. It's okay if your back rounds. It's okay if your knee bends a little bit. And here we'll start to shift forward for Skandasana. So you turn to your left toes turn up. Your right heel can be lifted, makes this quite a bit easier, or right heel down. And if you want more challenge, hands to your heart for balance. Now we'll lower the hands and turn towards the front of the mat and step up to forward fold, Uttanasana. Knees can bend, you can hold elbows, you could massage the back of your neck. Again, common areas of tension, the neck and shoulders. And now lower your hands and step your right knee back and down. And we'll start to move with the breath here. Inhaling forward to a lunge and exhaling back to half splits. A few times with your breath. Next time you come into the lunge, we'll stay there. And again, you can lower down to lizard, deeper stretch, or raise up, arms like a Y into more energizing Anjaneyasana, low lunge. So either way, hold and breathe a few breaths. Listen to what feels right for you. And then we'll all come back down to the half splits. Straight left leg. But again, some bending in the knee is okay. Rounding in the back is okay. And then we'll shift forward for Skandasana again. Turn your right toes up. Half squat on your left side. And again, your left heel down is going to be more challenging. Left heel lifting, a little easier. And then maybe one hand to your heart, maybe both. Find a spot to focus your eyes and breathe. And now turn towards the front of the mat again to the forward fold, Uttanasana. Knees can bend, hang out here. Now with a bend in your knees, start to slowly roll up your spine to stand. Head comes up last. Into mountain pose. And inhale to reach your arms up overhead. And exhale to bring your hands to heart. Pause here in mountain pose, centering, stable, strong. You can have your arms down beside you and start to activate your triceps, back of your arms, shoulder blades down and together, lifting your heart. Engage the quadriceps, the thigh muscles. Engage your core. And from this strength, we'll start to move with the breath. Now inhale, reach your arms up. And exhale to fold all the way down, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up, strong back. And exhale back to plank pose. Hold in plank for an inhale. And then your exhale, chaturanga or belly. Lower down. Inhale to cobra or up dog. And exhale back to down dog. Hold and breathe in down dog. Next, inhale, reach your right leg straight up and back. And exhale, step forward into a low lunge, left knee down to the mat. As you inhale, float your arms up like a Y. And exhale, lower your hands back down to plank pose. Hold in plank for an inhale. And exhale, chaturanga or belly down. Inhale, cobra or up dog, lifting your heart. And exhale back to down dog. Next, inhale, left leg reaches straight up and back. And exhale, step forward to a low lunge, right knee down. Inhale, float your arms up like a Y. And exhale, lower your hands, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up, lengthen your spine. And exhale, forward fold, round your back. Inhale, reach all the way up, arms up overhead. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale, lift halfway up, long spine. And exhale, plank pose. Hold for an inhale and plank. Exhale, chaturanga or belly. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, down dog. Inhale, right leg back and reach up. And exhale, step forward into a high lunge. Back knee is lifted as you float your arms up. Inhale. And exhale, lower your hands, vinyasa or right to down dog. So you can go chaturanga or belly, locust or cobra or up dog, and back to down dog. From here, inhale the left leg straight back. And exhale, step forward into a high lunge, back knee lifted as you float your arms up. And exhale, lower your hands, step forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up, long spine. Exhale, round your back, fold in. Inhale, reach all the way up, arms overhead. And exhale, hands to hearts. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to chair pose, either arms up like a Y or hands to your heart. Feet can be hips distance or together. Just make sure your knees and toes are tracking straight ahead. Next, exhale, forward fold, round your back. Inhale, half lift, long spine. Exhale to plank pose. Hold here for side plank. Right hand a little forward from center. So when you turn the 90-degree angle with your arm, side plank. You can also have your forearm down. Yeah. And you could also lift your left leg if you want more challenge here. And we'll all lower down to the other side, side plank. Either left arm a little forward from center or left forearm down. Right leg could lift. And we'll lower all the way down to the stomach for locust pose on your belly, lifting your heart, reaching your arms back. We'll hold and breathe there, shoulder blades down and together. Strong back, even slightly bend your knees so your hamstrings and glutes activate. Even point your toes so your calves activate. And we'll let all that effort go back to downward facing dog. Now stretching the back of the body. Lift your right leg back and open your hip with a bend in your knee. So your heel's moving towards your tail, your right knee is lifting up towards the ceiling. Hold and breathe there. And step all the way up to warrior two. Back heel turns down, arms open out like a T. And make sure your front knee is tracking straight ahead towards your middle toes. Move your shoulder blades together and down on your back. Press your feet down and apart like you're trying to pull your mat apart with your feet. And now palms up, reverse warrior, reach back. to side angle pose, right forearm to thigh, and make circles and movements of your left shoulder, leaning on your right thigh. So you can move in all directions here, or any movement that feels good. And then from here, wrap your left arm around your back, palm faces away, opening your left shoulder towards the ceiling, left ribs towards the ceiling. And you could stay there or bind right hand down inside your foot, right shoulder inside your knee to reach back and clasp your hands. And it'll slowly release back to plank pose. For side plank, again, either right hand down or right forearm down. Hold and breathe here a little longer this time, building strength in the upper body. And then we'll come back down to the other side, side forearm plank or side plank. And we'll come back down to the stomach for locust pose. Arms back, heart lifting, strong back of the body. And release back to downward facing dog. From here, lift your left leg back and bend in the knee, opening the hip. So there's a lift in your knee, your heel moves towards your tail. And step your left foot all the way up to warrior two. Back heel down. Make sure your front toes and knee are pointing straight ahead towards the front of your mat. Shoulder blades together and down on your back. Now palms up, reverse warrior, reaching back. To side angle, left forearm to thigh. Make circles and movements of your right shoulder, any way that feels good. And now wrap your right arm around your back, palm faces away, and stay there or bind left shoulder inside the left knee to reach back and clasp your hands. And we'll unbind if you're there, and then back to plank pose one last time for side plank with the right arm or right forearm down. Side plank on the right side. Upper body strength and balance. And then we'll lower down to the other side. Left arm or left forearm down. And then all the way down to your stomach for locust pose or bow pose. This time if you want to bend your knees and grab your feet behind you to lift your heart. Shoulder blades together and down, spine extending, heads in line with the spine. And let all that effort go back to stomach or child's pose or downward facing dog. We'll hold and breathe a few breaths there. Now from here, let's come up to the hands and knees. And just like we move the shoulders, we'll move the left hip in all directions. And bring the left knee towards the left wrist for pigeon pose. And here you can square your hips to the floor and come down to elbows or hands. Or if for any reason that doesn't work like that, do the 90-degree version of this where you lean onto your left side And bring your front leg up to 90 degrees, back leg up as well to 90 degrees, and lower your elbows down past your shin. All right, so either version of pigeon pose, whatever works best for you here. Now we'll stay a little longer in these, more emphasizing flexibility in these poses. So maybe like 5 to 7 breaths in each of these poses. And when you're ready, you start to transition to the other side, same thing. Starting with that circle of your right hip in all directions. That moving of the synovial fluid in your joints can help increase flexibility as much as 40%. So starting there and then getting into the pigeon pose. And then we'll hold and breathe for several slow, full body breaths. Imagine your breath can go right into the outer hip, wherever you feel this. So your attention's becoming a little more focused and sharp to the present moment. And letting go of effort. So we practice being able to release tension, being able to be strong and balanced, but now emphasizing flexibility, able to let go of effort and tension in the body. Now we'll slowly start to sit up and make your way into bound angle pose with your feet together, knees apart. So these are like deeper versions of the stretches we did at the beginning. So you can sit up tall here, you could fold forward. If there's some tension in your feet, you can press into the feet. And then we'll start to sit back up and bring your knees together, feet on the floor. Let your knees move to your left. So you come into deer pose. So knees to your left, turn to your left, down to your hands or elbows. Feeling into a stretch in your lower right side of your back, the QL. It's a kind of tricky area to stretch. So if you don't quite feel it, you might need to just adjust your angle of this pose, or maybe you can come down a little lower to your hands under your head. And then we'll start to come up to the other side, same thing. So bring your knees to your right. Get your left knee to your right foot and turn down to your right. in deer pose. And we'll hold and breathe here a few breaths. And we'll start to sit back up. And come into a comfortable seated posture for a moment here. And start to move your shoulders any way that feels good. And move your neck in any movement that you like. Jaw relaxed. And we'll come back to center, to a neutral spine. And move into seated meditation, which you can do sitting up here, sitting cross-legged or on a cushion or something, or you can lay down if you want to lay down, or have your legs up the wall. But we'll have a couple minutes in meditation. So if it's uncomfortable to sit, you can just lay down, totally fine. But if you're good there, we'll start to settle in to notice the breath again at a deeper level. So just like at the beginning where we took those slower, deeper breaths, allowing your belly, ribs, and lung to expand in the front, back, and sides with each inhale, and then each exhale, softening the chest, ribs, and belly in the front, back, and sides. And letting the breath slow down to maybe 5 to 7 seconds on the inhale, and maybe 6 to 10 seconds on the exhale. So in meditation, we're just practicing focusing the mind. So if it wandered away from the breath, coming back to noticing the breathing. No judgment, just resetting and coming back to noticing the present moment. Now you're welcome to continue in seated meditation if you want, or come down to your back for Shavasana, or legs up the wall if you want. Sometimes that can be a little more relaxing. So whatever feels right for you, meditation, seated or laying down or legs up the wall. And take your time to settle in, and we'll have a couple minutes to close our practice with more stillness, letting go of effort, and resting in the present moment. mind can be in the past or future, but your breath can only happen in the present moment. So the breath is a way to just continually remind ourselves to come back to what's happening right now. We might even notice there's some tensions in the body still that could soften a little bit in the shoulders or the belly or the legs. And one layer deeper into the present moment, just feeling the breath coming in on the inhales, expanding the body, the breath going out on the exhales, softening tensions. We have about 1 more minute here, and besides sleeping, this might be the only time of day where you're just doing nothing, just being completely still, no movement. And a lot of the body's healing processes happen when we're at rest. So allowing your body this time to heal, process, digest, integrate the movements you've done today. And now, with this sense of ease and relaxation, starting to make small movements of your arms and legs, hands and feet, eventually coming over to one side and back up to sitting. Take your time. If you have longer to stay in Shavasana, you can definitely do that. But otherwise, we'll just take a moment to close the practice with the hands together at the heart, bowing the mind to the heart and to each other. Thank you for practicing today. Namaste.